Hello, hello, everyone. Come on in. Oh my goodness. So many of you here. Say hello. Tell me where you're signing in from. It's been so long since I've done a webinar. So I'm very excited to be here. Come on in, everyone. Almost 300 people already, 335. So tell us where you're signing in from on this Saturday, on this summer Saturday. I'm so honored that you've taken the time out to be here with me. You know, that always surprises me, warms me, humbles me. 450 people, 43 people already here. Oh my goodness. Look at where people are signing in from: Malta, Texas, Croatia, Norway, Belgrade, Macedonia, south of France, Belgium, Germany, Switzerland, Milwaukee, Pakistan, Poland, Dubai, France, New York City, Japan, Cyprus, Romania, Ukraine. Isn't that incredible? I mean, I always say this is one of the saving graces of technology. In this aspect, I think it's amazing. When used for the right intention and the right purpose, gathering together like this is just an astounding, amazing feat of technology. So Botswana, Maine, Romania in the house, India, Spain, Austria. So excited, so happy that you're here. Are you able to just see me on the screen right now? Everyone can just see me. Okay, perfect. And you can hear me okay? No echo, just doing a sound check. Okay, thank you. Saudi Arabia, hello. Swiss Mountains, Jamaica. Awesome. Okay, we're just going to wait for a minute or two. We had thousands and thousands registered, so we do have a limit. So eventually people won't be allowed to come in, but they will get the recording. You will get the recording, good for 30 days. I truly encourage you to stay till the end of this workshop. It may be intense at times, it may be provocative, but that's just my signature style. And stay for the whole ride. And, you know, of course, you can get the recording if you need to go, but I encourage you to stay to the end. I have some gifts for you at the end, so hang in there. We're going to wait for another minute or two till 10:05, and then we shall begin. Belgium, Slovakia. Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome. You can write in the chat. I will try to look intermittently and see if I can address any questions. We have Peru, Romania, Ireland, Portugal, Malaysia, South Africa, Singapore, India, Germany, Bahrain. The session, today's workshop will at least be an hour, but knowing me, it may be an hour and a half, because when I'm here, I often give more than I anticipate. So just try to block that time. Bucharest, Romania, I will be coming to you in October. So excited to be with you. Montreal, England, lots from India, Cyprus, Malaysia, Lebanon. When am I coming to Bucharest? In October at some point. I have no idea. I don't remember. But you can write to us and I will definitely be advertising. So Serbia's in the house, Mexico, Abu Dhabi, Czech Republic, Indonesia. Amazing. Okay, let's just take a deep breath. Let's ground ourselves. We have 653 people here right now. I'm sure we're going to get a little bit more. Somebody's asking if they're the only ones from Australia. Say hello to her if you find her. Narjis Ahmadi is from Australia. Swaziland is here. Netherlands is here. Los Angeles. I love it. They got up early in LA. Philippines. Okay, so I'm about to start. Before we embark, what is one thing you want to leave with from this workshop? What is one thing that you would like to leave with from this workshop? Tap in, ask yourself, what am I looking for? What am I seeking in my life right now? What am I missing? Confidence, clarity, actionable inspiration. I love that. Wisdom, that I can give you. Hope, awakening, freedom, courage, wisdom, meaning. I love it. Keep tapping in, asking yourself, what am I missing from my life right now? What do I need from my life right now? Presence, follow through, peace, focus, confidence, drive, connection, structure, to be anchored, self-worth, calmness, clarity, structure, joy, inspiration, support, self-regulation. Don't we all need some self-regulation? Focus, clients, confidence and courage, contentment, to be more of a leader, disciplined, liberation, peace, flow, to accept myself. I love it. Initiative, taking action, rebirth, resilience, authentic communication, to be myself, detachment, determination, gratefulness, goals, time well spent, detachment from negativity, confidence, balance, confidence, no fear of error, to let go, alignment. More Dr. Shefali, wisdom, inspiration, clarity, balance. Who am I after my kids have grown up? No feeling of missing or comparison or competition or lack, forgiveness. Now, why did I ask this question? There is a why. And part of our mission on earth is to be very tapped into the why. So even when I asked that question, you may think it was just a random question, or you may think it's a filler activity. It's not. The reason I asked you to tap in is several. Number one, it's so important for you to express and get in touch with, in an active way, why am I here? Because the why is so important. So I asked you to tap into your why. But then the greater why of why I asked you all to do this is for you all to see that in our innermost being, we are so similar. Each one of you could be saying what the other one is saying. And we forget this because we get caught up in the outer appearance, in the outer form of life. We forget that inside, each one of us is looking for their own self-worth, for their own deeper purpose, for their own clarity. But because of their past, because of their temperament, because of their conditioning, we go about it in different ways. What I'm going to teach you today is how I have created a method to manifest what I deeply believe is my authentic self and my authentic calling. And when I'm breaking it down, I'm going to be teaching you the principles, right? So on a scribbly note right here, I don't want to show you, I'm embarrassed. I wrote down my process first. And my process was so clear. I did this, then I did this, then I did this. Of course, in retrospect, it's clear. And then I could see the principles I followed. And that's what I'm going to share with you today. And the fact that you're here, the fact that you've taken the time out means there's something within you that needs something. And you answered the call, right? I put out the call and you answered the call. And this is what people call luck, right? There's no such thing as luck. Luck is taking the opportunity and taking the action, right? When opportunity and action collide. So I put out the call, you saw the opportunity and you took action. And that's what we call luck. So you could one day say, oh my goodness, I was listening to Dr. Shefali, and lucky me, I met somebody else on the chat from Bulgaria, or I met somebody from Australia, or she said the one thing that I was missing. What luck I tuned into Dr. Shefali. There's no such thing. It's not luck. It's you taking action. So right now, right here, you took an action. You paid attention. It fell into your inbox. Yes, that's something serendipitous. Life is full of serendipity, but you're not more lucky. You took action to create this moment. So I just want you to honor that you're already galvanizing something in you. The first place to start is in the why. Why am I feeling this way? What do I need? And because you were feeling this lack, this kind of void, you answered the call. Okay, so are we ready to begin? We have over 800 of us here today. Type the word yes if you're ready to begin, and I will start. So when you come to anything that I teach, you will quickly realize that I don't teach in a conventional way. So because I want to just illuminate and illustrate how unconventional this workshop will be, I want to show you what I asked ChatGPT. Okay. So I asked ChatGPT, what are some formulas for success? I have a free version. You can see I don't sign up or log in because why would I pay for it? I don't need it, but I love to check in with ChatGPT. So if you tapped into ChatGPT, what are some formulas of success? Oh my goodness, goal setting, strategic planning, consistent action, passion, skill, persistence, vision, execution, adaptability, knowledge, networking, opportunity, focus, discipline, patience, self-awareness, feedback, improvement, da la 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 la. When I read this, I was like, oh my goodness, I'm already feeling so inadequate. So that is what the traditional way of success is. If you go to a coach, did all of you were all of you able to read that? What came up for you when you saw that list? What came up for you when you saw that list? Before I continue. Overwhelmed. Yes. Way too much, right? You're like, oh, okay, this plus this plus this equals this. Right. But if you go to a coach or a person out there, a success coach or a conventional coach or a therapist, typically this is the formula, right? And what I want to show you is my formula. And I'm not saying like mine is better. I'm just giving you a very different way to live. And this difference is really, I think, what has set me up for the unique kind of achievement or success that I have attracted because I am unconventional, because I don't follow the mainstream, because I don't follow the matrix. I have created a very unique pathway for myself. So, are you ready to listen to a different way? It's not your traditional way. There will be some elements of the traditional way, but the pathway is completely different. So that's why you're here. That's why people, quote unquote, follow me. And you're going to go for this wild ride now, okay? But it's like so different from that traditional map, okay? So let's now enter what I like to say is my method, right? So I'm going to now expose you to my formula. And I believe that there is a way, there is a pathway, a formula for abundance and meaning and purpose. You just have to tap into it. You have to believe that there is. And this is your first step in understanding what this formula is. And the Buddha, who I attribute a lot of my learnings to. The Buddha, as many of you know, is allegedly this wisdom teacher who achieved enlightenment, who understood a path. And the Buddha set forth the Four Noble Truths, okay? And the reason why I follow that way of thinking is because ultimately, he or this being, if this being even existed, created a pathway for inner liberation. And this is the key to my success, is that I walk the pathway to my inner liberation. Because ultimately, you and I may believe we are here for our children or for our partners or for our careers. But no, the real secret, the real reason you are here today in this world is to find inner liberation. You can have all the Bentleys and Rolls Royces and Jaguars in your driveway. You can have all the jewelry and fancy shoes and purses. You can travel the world. You can have the best children who go to the best schools. You can have the most money in the bank account. But if you don't have a method to create inner liberation, you will not be successful. So what is inner liberation? Inner liberation is the capacity, is the wellspring, is the space, is the treasure of being able to not just withstand the chaos of life, not just tolerate the chaos of life, but to transcend it, to find a way to rise above it, to see it with wisdom. And then once you transcend it and see it with wisdom, you don't stay stuck there. Then you alchemize it into a path of action, of service, of manifestation. You alchemize it into meaning. And when we can alchemize something into meaning, you have liberated yourself. So inner liberation means the freedom from the chaos of life, the freedom from life's vagrant waves, the freedom from life's chaos. So people can say crap to you, people can steal from you, people can betray you, friends can come and go and forget your birthday, your children can fail an exam, you can put on 10 pounds. Oh my goodness, you have acne, and then you have a pimple. Oh my goodness, your hair is falling out. Oh my goodness, the cellulite is really rocking today. Whatever is showing up in the outside world, you have another being that can observe it, that can witness it, that can tolerate it. That is level 1 wisdom. But that's huge if you can do that. Level 2 wisdom is not just do that, you can transcend it, meaning you can watch it, but with peace, with equanimity, with compassion, with joy. And then not just stay stuck there, you can go even above that and alchemize the chaos of your life into meaning, into abundance, into purpose. Now, that ability to do these things is, to me, you've unlocked the secret of life. Because if you can master that, you have, that's it. You are in the 0.0000000000001% of human beings. So the first question, before I even begin, I'm not even started with slide 1, is for you to ask yourself, do I want to be that kind of person? Or do I just want to be a person who's running after the Jaguar and running after the Mercedes and running after the diamond and running after trying to be at the Olympics or running after getting my kid into the Olympics? What kind of person do I want to be? Does this person who runs after things, chases things, follows the matrix, wants to be more, do more, get more, acquire more, be seen more, more, does this person give you peace? Does this person give you wisdom? Does this person give you an ultimate liberation? No, I can tell you right now, it doesn't. But this person that I'm talking about is a unique human being who understands that inner liberation is the key. That if you die and do not have inner liberation, or at least a pathway to inner liberation, you will not have lived the best life. But if you're a person who thinks that the best life is making $1 million, or the best life is climbing Mount Everest, or the best life is getting an Olympic gold, those are amazing things. But if you think that's what you need to be looking back on your deathbed, you are way off, in my opinion. So we are going to talk about how do I create a life which takes me on the pathway to inner liberation. That is the key here. So let's now dive into the three core pillars of my success. Okay. And now, again, very unconventional, very different. You probably will never hear this anywhere else, but these are my core principles that have led and driven my success. Um, so they are the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. You're like, huh? What? What is this? So again, these are from the teachings of Eastern spirituality. Don't get caught up in the language. It's a derivative of Sanskrit. I will teach you what it means. These are just my principles that the Buddha taught. Now, again, I'm not Buddhist. I don't believe in Buddhism. I just follow the teachings of this alleged being. So I am the most uncult, unreligious, ungroup, unmatrix following person. So I'm not a Buddhist. This is not about Buddhism. So just take the teachings in. These are the three principles: the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. These are the foundational pillars of my success, around which I have based my entire life. And if my life doesn't tap into the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha, I wouldn't be in integrity. I wouldn't be me. So most of my life, I would say 99.9% of my life falls into this. The 1% that doesn't is the percent of my life that causes me stress. The minute I can bring that into alignment with this, I attain inner liberation. And I'm going to teach you now what that means. I mean, it is so powerful, these teachings. They have dictated my life, and I have gotten out of hell and high water from, I wouldn't say I was poor, but I was definitely of very, very, very humble beginnings when I came to America. I couldn't even afford a yogurt, right? So the yogurt was 73 cents. I still remember, and I would multiply it by 69 or whatever the conversion rate was, of 70, the conversion rate. And I would be like, oh my goodness, that's too much Indian rupees. And I would put the yogurt back. So when I came here to America at the age of 21, I had no relatives here, just one cousin who was also struggling, but no adult really. And back in 1993, there were only postal letters that we could write. Every phone call I had to book, and it cost money. There was there email? No, there was no email. It was way back. So I didn't have access to wealth, to connections. But at the age of 21, something else very fortuitous happened, but I called it into my life. I went for my first 21-day, 11-day, but then I spent another 11 days in deep reflection. So a 21-day period of deep meditation. And I went for a silent meditation retreat. And in that retreat, I was exposed to these teachings back then that I've been applying till now, and just honing it and purifying it so I can now present it to people around the world. So what are the teachings? The Buddha stands for the teachings, the Dharma stands for the method, and the Sangha stands for the community. These three elements are what my entire life is based around, and my entire success is based around. So let us begin with understanding that there is such a thing called the teachings. So what does that mean? If we are not willing to say to ourselves, I need to learn, I need to be a student of life's wisdom, then we will not embark on a path of inner awakening. So the first step of any inner awakening is to understand you have to become a seeker. A seeker of what? teachings, wisdom teachings. So you are here, in a way, seeking the teachings from me. And we have to enter the humble place of being a seeker. Now, most of us, because we were trained as children to follow a prescription list, you see, we think we're doing okay. We went to school, we checked off that box, we went to graduate school, we got a career, we are making money, we're paying our bills, we got married, we had children, we're okay. But none of that is what I'm talking about. That is just the prescription list of the doing that culture and your family says you need to fulfill. None of that is going to bring you inner liberation. So that's why I said in the beginning, do you want to be somebody who wants to liberate themselves from within? Because that person needs to first enter the humility of being a seeker. And a seeker of what? The teachings. This is the core fundamental principle of my life. I am, before anything else, if I had to put a word after I am, which already is an illusion, because the only thing we are is just I am. I am, we are. There is no extra thing that we can put after it. But if I was to put any word after it, it would be the word seeker. I am a seeker. That's it. Before I'm a mother, before I'm a partner, before I'm a friend, before I'm a teacher, any of it, I am a seeker. And until you are willing to begin to play with that in your own life, unless you are willing to alchemize that in a manifested way, none of this will land on you. So now step into your body. Ask yourself, does this feel authentic to me if I say, before you say you're a parent, before you say you're a wife, a mother, a father, before you say you're a child, a daughter, a son, are you willing to say, I'm a seeker? If you are, write the words, I am a seeker. I am a seeker. I am a seeker. Now, you have to understand what a profound shift just this teaching is. To shift from I'm a mother, I'm a author, I'm a doctor, I'm a dentist, I'm an architect, I'm a homemaker, I'm a cupcake baker, I'm a gardener, I'm a astronaut, I'm a wife, I'm a daughter. To shift from that to I'm a seeker is a huge pivot. It's a foundational, energetic, vibrational shift. It's a seismic, monumental pivot. Tell me why. Tell me why you think just this, before anything else, I'm a seeker, is such a big, monumental, prophetic shift in your life. If you can change this one philosophical mindset shift, your whole life will change. Why? Why? Because you're going to detach, because then you're working to your being. You're not attached to others. You become a seeker. It's a place you come from. You become curious. You understand the purpose of life. You're willing to learn. You're open to possibilities. You stay open. You attract. Beautiful. There's something you're not saying. There's a reason why when you shift into seeker, your life can change, because I think you're not saying it, so I shouldn't be hard on you. You learn, because now you're not in the mode of acquisition, which is I'm going to now acquire children so that I can acquire satisfaction, so I can acquire fulfillment. I'm going to acquire a partner so that I can acquire fidelity and loyalty and companionship and somebody to take care of me. I'm not going to acquire a doctorate degree so that then I can acquire money and success and cars and jewelry. I'm not going to acquire anybody or anything. I am not going to be in the state of taking from life. Two, I'm a seeker. Oh my goodness. Now I am receiving. I'm not taking. There's a big difference, meaning I'm here to receive the wisdom that life is teaching me. Now my life is my school. Now my relationships are my teachers. Very different from defining yourself as the role. So it's moving from role to soul. What does my soul want from me? This is my essential question to myself. I have lost, I cannot tell you how much money because I refuse to follow this role-based, external-based, achievement-based model for living that culture has put out for me. And the moment I pivot here, I now am following my soul's quest. What do I want to do? What is it that makes me light up? So when you begin to understand that the most essential teaching of your life is to be a seeker, to discover who it is you are. The greatest gift you can give yourself on your deathbed is not, oh, do my children love me? Do I have a partner who's so, handsome or beautiful? And did they ever cheat on me? Or did they stay loyal to me? Or do I have a lot of friends who are going to miss me when I die? Or do I look 10 years younger than my age, on my deathbed? None of this shit matters. To you, it may, because you've gotten caught up with what culture says. This is the distraction, the seduction, the chaos of culture to keep you unhappy, to keep you buying. You buy the next marriage, you buy the child's favor, you buy the child to going into the best Ivy League school, you buy the next fitness program, you buy the next colon cleanse. I just bought a colon cleanse. You buy the next something because you're like, oh, this is what I need to do because I need to become better in these areas. And while there is merit here, this is not the secret. So you can play in this world, and I teach everyone in my courses how they can do that. You can play here, but the most essential gift you need to give yourself on your deathbed is understanding who it is you are. And if you don't understand that, then you have lost the entire purpose and meaning of your life. So the next place you need to go is to understand why. Why is it so important that understanding yourself is the key? Because there is a self, right? And the self is this big self. There's a big self and a small self. The big I is an I that is in a personified way, a reflection and a mirror of everything in the cosmos. So you, and I'm not talking mumbo jumbo, I'm just talking in a very elemental way in terms of atoms and cells and matter. You are, you've heard people say you're made up of the same quality as stars. It's kind of true. You are made of out of the bacteria, out of the earth, out of the elements, out of the water. You are here very deeply a reflection of the cosmos. So what that means, though, is that you are essentially as perfect as nature. So this whole quest of finding your worth, that this matrix tells you you need to find your worth, is important, but it's actually an illusion because you're not living here. But once you enter the life of a seeker, a wisdom seeker, and you truly understand that your big self is already perfect, the small self or I call the form self, the form-based self, that needs a little bit of tweaking. You need to pay the rent, you need to pay the mortgage, you need to cut your grass. That we can keep working on. But as long as you know that the big self, the formless self, is in alignment because it's here, now you're entering a transcendent way of living. And very few people in the world have the wisdom, have the intelligence, have the resources to enter a transcendent form of themselves. So who is that transcendent form of the self. The transcendent self is a very different self. It is a self that understands that there is the false self, the form-based self. It is the false self. Yes, you believing you are a mother, you are a wife, you are a doctor, you are, 45, you are living in New York, or you are Romanian, or you are Indian. This, my dear friends, is the small self, the form self, the false self. It is a self that is defined by an external. As long as the self is defined by anything on the external, you are in small I, small self, form self, false self. This is a very key wisdom piece that I'm giving you right now, that I've developed over years of seeking through other wisdom gurus to teach you. Don't fool this self with this self, with the true self. The false self that believes it is a mother, that means it is a mother, meaning the mothering is it, is a false illusion because it is bound to an external source. Your identity is bound to that. It's not true. Yeah, you are mothering because you gave birth to this child. Yes, you are in the role of mother, but the mother is not you. Yes, you're in the role of wife, and you're in the role of partner, and the role of the daughter. Sure, you're in relationship, amazing relationships or shitty relationship, doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter because it's not you. The moment you bind it to you, you're screwed. You're screwed. How many of you have been screwed in your life because you gave up yourself to that relationship, to that identity? Me, I did, right? To my first marriage. I just became that. And then I lost it again in mothering. I became that. Even though I had started my wisdom path at the age of 21, I forgot. And you know why I forgot? Because my conditioning was so strong to check the checklist. And this is what I learned. So I was like, I have this wisdom, but let's just do the false self. So I did the false self, but I had a true self that was emerging. And that's why you're here today, because you all have a false self. We are all in false self. The minute we're out in the matrix, we're in false self. But the more we can activate the true self, now you are entering the echelon of a wisdom seeker, right? And one day, in your very near future, if you keep uncovering these teachings, the Buddha's the teachings that I'm giving you, the wisdom, one day, as you're like, oh, my true self is as loud as my false self. Wow. And then one day, your true self just rises and the false self doesn't disappear, sadly enough, but you can watch it, you can tame it, you can talk to it, you can send it to the corner, you can activate it when you need it. You're like, okay, now I'm going to do all the things that the false self needs to do. I need to, talk about my books. I need to tell people to buy my books. Okay, I'm in false self. I'm going to act like the books are the most important thing in my life, and I will do it. But I will know it is not my true self. It's part of the matrix, right? So this art of understanding what is the true self, what is the false self, is the key in your life. So what do we need to do, right? So once I began to discover this at the age of 21, I realized, oh my God, I've been living in false self. I then went on a path of inner awakening, inner coaching, to discover who is the true self. Where can I discover the true self? Where can I find who it is I truly am? And I went on a very, very serious, 20-year quest to reclaim my authentic self. And this is what I teach in every single course of mine, in every single book of mine, whether it is in the forefront or in the background. This is what my entire life's work is. So I became really clear very young that the reclamation of the authentic self is my personal goal, is my ultimate goal. When I die, I want to be someone who can say that, yes, my life was about a wisdom journey to get to my authentic self. So let's talk about some practical things that we can do in our lives to enter the authentic self. So the first thing we need to do to enter the authentic self is to really, really understand culture's matrix. If you don't understand culture's matrix, you are going to be a puppet to culture. And while I teach all of this in my coaching institute, in my courses, I'm just going to give you a taste of it now. I cannot get into it now. It's like, it'll take months. But in a nutshell, the next thing you do when you're on this path is you begin to realize that culture has told me to keep begging, seeking, craving, thirsty, hungry, a sucker, a total prostitute for external validation, for money, for fame, for social status, for the house, for the car, for the clothes, for the image, for the medals, for the trophies, for the rankings, for the numbers. Culture has told me that that is what my true self is. I am my number. I am my husband's happiness. I am my wife's happiness. I am my child's happiness. I am my child's success. I am my house zip code. I am how much money I have in the bank. Now, while all that is amazing, it is not my true self. So, am I willing to realize that this is just an invention? It is just a construction of culture, but it is not the truth. Just the willingness to say to yourself, I'll do it. I want to have money. I want to learn how to, be successful out in the world. I want to write a New York Times best-selling book. I want to learn. No problem. But don't do it with the illusion that that is going to create any sort of inner liberation. What I'm teaching you is going to create inner liberation. And one of those steps is to understand that this is the biggest lie, what culture has put around you. Okay, so understanding that is very important. What is the next step? I'm showing you the method, I'm showing you the process. Then you'll have to go on a path to do this. The next step is to understand how your family screwed you up. Yeah, your family's creation. I lived in a building in India where I could see the familial creation so beautifully. That is the power of living in an apartment building in a country like India. I'll tell you why. In India, when you live in an apartment building, I don't know how it is now, but when I grew up in the 80s, you cannot survive in an apartment building in India without everyone in the apartment building being in your freaking business. Okay. You know what's going on in everybody's house because all the windows are open and the apartments are like all over each other. You hear everything, you see everything. Anyone here who ever grew up in an Indian apartment building in the 80s? But I'll tell you the beauty of that. We had the auntie who was one religion, who was a hairdresser. We had the uncle who was the stamp collector of a different religion. Upstairs lived the auntie who was really strict, who beat her children. I could hear the children cry, and I was really terrified of her. And she believed in Jesus. She had a bust of Jesus. That was that auntie. And then I had my piano teacher who lived on the ground floor, who had a stick, and she would hit your knuckles she didn't hear you practice. That was also a problem because she could hear whether you practice the piano, and then she would yell at you. And she lived with her own set of principles with a little sausage poodle dog. So every house I could see had a different family constellation, and it was just a crapshoot that I didn't grow up in that house where the children got beaten up, or I didn't grow up in that house where they were Muslims, or I didn't grow up in that house that was Catholic. I literally grew up with almost every religion except Judaism in my building. I had all the monotheistic religions except Judaism. I had Christianity, I had Islam, I had Hinduism, I had Buddhism, I had Jainism. I just did not have Judaism. So I married a Jew later on in my life. But it gave me a perspective. Holy shit, it's just a crapshoot. Crapshoot whether I'm born there or a crapshoot whether I'm born there. Now, some people believe in past life, reconstruction. No problem. But I'm not sure, right? And since I'm not sure, for a little girl, I was like, wow, how did I get so lucky that I came into this family? So each family has a creation. It has a creation myth and a creation script. It has traditions, it has prescriptions, it has ways to be, which are simply constructions. So understanding that is so important to understand who it is you truly are. Until you go through this deconstruction process, you will not enter liberation. In my life, what I have done more seriously than I think I've parented, more seriously than I've exercised, more seriously than my PhD, is I have attempted very seriously to deconstruct my culture and my family, my conditioning from the external out in the cultural societal world, and my conditioning from my family. These two wings have set me free. And I don't know how people live their lives without going through a serious deconstruction and an examination and an analysis of culture and family. And this is my signature. Everyone knows who knows me, who've attended my talks. Somehow I'm always helping people to break free from culture and family. This is my signature because it leads you to understanding the small I. Who have I been till now? Have I been a people pleaser or have I been just a product? Like, what am I? Am I an object? Who is it that makes me me in this culture, in my family, right? Am I just a product? Am I just a people pleaser? What am I? And now this question will also take you into your purpose. Do I want to deal with people or do I want to deal with products? Right? So it's a double entendre question. It's do I want to deal with people? Do I want to deal with products? Based on your deconstruction. Once you deconstruct who it is you are, once you understand who it is you are in terms of your family, who it is you are in terms of your culture, only then will you be able to understand where you want to go in terms of your purpose and passion. You will not be able to move forward in an aligned way until you do this deconstruction. So I don't know how other people do it, but I can tell you, having been a coach, a therapist for so many successful people, is that they will do it. They will go for their purpose and passion, but they're not doing it from a healed place. They're doing it from a broken place. And as long as they do it from a broken place, they will never, ever be aligned. Right? So I just was in therapy with a very, very world class, famous human being in terms of achievement. And they were exhausted, right? They were broken. Their body was breaking down. And I said to them that the reason your body is breaking down is because you have been running on the fumes of talent, but you haven't been running on the fumes of authenticity. Or to another person who's a successful investment banker, so successful, a hedge fund manager, he broke out in vitiligo, which can be a stress response. And I told him, you have been so successful because you've been operating out of this hunger for achievement, but you have not been operating out of a hunger for authenticity. So the key is first finding your authentic self, then layering onto that your path for success. But if you create the path for success without that deep understanding of who it is you are, and if you don't come from a more healed place, the talent, the achievement, the greed, the hunger, all of that will be unsustainable. Do you know why? Because the foundation upon which it rests is cracked, it's damaged. So, yeah, they'll make a lot of money, maybe more money than you will ever make. Yeah, they will be famous. I promise you, the body will break down. I see Celine Dion, right? I love her so much. I think she's one of the most incredible talents. But I can imagine, if I can project, that for somebody with a talent like that at the age of 9, 8, 9, 10, to be used as an instrument for other people's pleasure and entertainment, the predatory nature of the world sucking on you and taking your talent and making you feel like you are a product, you're not a person, that must have had a toll on her. That must have created a false self, that she was the voice. She wasn't Celine. She wasn't a human being allowed to come into her own. She was the voice. You see this over and over and over with Michael Phelps' story, with Andre Agassi's story, with Venus and Serena. You see it with Michael Phelps. Did I say Michael Phelps already? Justin Bieber, right? He's got an autoimmune disorder. So many. Selena Gomez, autoimmune disorder. And I'm not saying that there's a direct causation. I'm saying it's correlated. And this is how the body speaks to you, because it's telling you that you're predating on your talents, or you're predating on others for your achievement. It will never be sustainable. For the wellspring of your sustainability, you absolutely need to have your own self-awareness, your own sense of purpose, your own sense of passion, which really means that you need to enter an inner alignment. And if you don't enter an inner alignment by asking what comes authentically to me, what is organic to me, what is here already, right? What is already here? The other day, my daughter was going through a struggle in her life. And I said to her, the best way that you can triumph over this struggle is to alchemize it into your purpose. What I'm trying to say is that our talent is already here. Our information is already in front of you. You are already in your purpose and passion. You just haven't aligned to it. Think about it. I'm already in my purpose and passion. I just haven't aligned to it. You know why you haven't aligned to it? Because you're so busy in the role of the form. You're so busy trying to checkmark what culture has said you need to checkmark, that you're literally not stepping into your alignment. Inner alignment is not something magical. It just means dropping in, looking at the pattern of your life. It will show up. I wrote my book, A Radical Awakening, which is, according to me, my most amazing book, out of the pain of my most traumatic time period of my life, my divorce. I wrote the whole book during the divorce because I was aligned to the pain. And I knew that I needed to transcend it and alchemize it. So I wrote it in process. So if you read that book, you will see that you're in there with me, because I was in there with it, because I was not misaligned. I was in it. It was my purpose. I wrote the book, The Conscious Parent, out of my own awakening as a mother. So that was how I used my talent for writing. You're already showing up with your talent. You may be the best gardener in the world. It's already here. You may be the best soup maker, the best nurse, the best songwriter, the best, it's already here, the best lawnmower. It's already here. But if you're looking for fame, if you're looking for people-pleasing validation, if you're looking for approval, if you're looking for accolades from the external world, for the audience to clap, if you're looking to be on a stage, if you're looking for fame or money, or your parents to say, good girl, good boy, then you're not going to step into your inner alignment, because you're running after the wrong things. But your purpose and passion is always right here, right, waiting beneath the false self. It's right there. So now let's enter the Dharma. We've talked about the Buddha. The Buddha is the teachings. Those are my teachings in a nutshell, but I have lots of ways that you can learn from me, which I will talk about later. Now, what is the Dharma? What is your Dharma? Dharma is what is your purpose? How do I tap into my purpose? And when people say, this is my Dharma, nature is my Dharma, cooking is my Dharma, teaching is my Dharma, what would you say is your deepest purpose? And then I will tell you what mine is. What would you say is your Dharma? Tap it in here. Beautiful. Writing, teaching, singing, helping the needy, teaching, finding my truth, my spiritual growth, my healing, being a good listener, inspiring others, to inspire people, peace, service, beautiful. So tapping into your dharma is extremely important. What lights you up? What gives you the greatest joy? So what I've discovered is a dharma that not only lights me up, but I've seen over and over again that if you have the dharma of service, some kind of service, you will be eternally replenished. So my dharma is service to help awaken human consciousness. That is my service. So if you could now think of how do I take my dharma and move it into service, what would that look like? For me, it is to help people awaken in their consciousness. What would it be for you? How could you take your dharma? So say if your dharma is being out in nature. I love being out in nature. Now I want to make it into a service. How do I do that? What would it look like? So if I want to be out in nature, what could I do out in nature? Because I'm the happiest in nature. That's what lights me up. Every day I spend hours in nature already. Anytime I have nothing to do, I'm in nature. Wow, that must be my dharma. Now, how do I convert it into a service? Should I open a landscaping company? Maybe I could do that. Should I become a forest ranger? Should I become a gardener? Should I become, should I do outdoor yoga? Or should I just enjoy the outdoors if I don't need to make money? Or I want to be connected. I want to do something. Okay, maybe I do it for free. There is a way to turn dharma into service. Whether you get paid for it or not is up to you. That will happen next. But first you need to understand your dharma, right? And again, your dharma is already inside you. But you can only arrive there when you don't focus on this. So I'll give you an example in my life. For years, people told me to open a coaching institute. And I was like, no, I don't want to open a coaching institute because what if it doesn't do well? What if people really fuck it up and then I'll be sued? What if no one comes? What if I'm a total failure? What if people go out there and they blaspheme my reputation? What if? I promise you, I was stuck in the what if for maybe 4 or 5 years. Why? Because I was so caught in the matrix of what it should look like. I saw myself do it. I couldn't get out of it. I was so afraid of what the form-based world would do to me, to my reputation. Example number 2. In the last few years of my marriage, I knew it was time to evolve, to either evolve myself or evolve him or evolve it. I was terrified. Again, what will people say? What will happen to my daughter? What will happen to my career? What will happen to my life? What will happen? I was terrified. I was just meek about it. Number 3, I was told for years to set up a podcast. Do a podcast, Dr. Shefali, do a podcast. Everybody's doing a podcast. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do a podcast because I don't want to, get caught up in the matrix. So in a way, my decision to not do a podcast was a little bit closer to truth because I didn't want to get caught up in the matrix. But by not wanting to be caught up in the matrix was actually my fear to be caught up in the matrix, right? Why did I have a fear? So I was like, oh, I don't know whether I want to do it because I don't want to do it their way and I don't want to do it everybody else's way, which means I was totally bought into the matrix. Now I'll go back and I'll show you how I broke through each one of these things to liberate myself and to enter my own deepest dharma, my purpose. With the Coaching Institute, I realized that if my purpose is to liberate consciousness, is to awaken people, to alleviate suffering, if that's really mine, so for example, if yours is baking cupcakes or really to be in nature, then how dare we stand in our way? So I began to look at all the things that were standing in my way, which was fear of failure, fear of my reputation, fear of the what if, fear of the future. And I saw that my dharma, my purpose, and my fears were clashing. So you need to write down what is your dharma and what are your fears, and you see that they're clashing. And then I realized, oh, obviously I don't want to start a coaching institute because I'm not in the true self of my dharma. I'm in the false self of a fake purpose. So I had to make a choice. Which one do I want to be in my true self or my false self? And if in order to be into my true self, I have to detach from all the things that culture is telling me. And today I have a thriving coaching institute. I'm going to talk about it at the end. But just to show you, it's now 11 cohorts in, and that means over 5 years. And I've grown and I've fulfilled my dharma to help alleviate suffering, because now I have other coaches out there who are doing my work. The second one, my marriage. I so was afraid because of my reputation. You know how it is. What will happen to my child? Culture really, really scares you. Culture really terrifies you to not leave the social status quo. But when I did, not only did I make more money, become more successful, be more achieving, wrote more books, did more courses, we are all okay. Has it been messy? 100%. Has it been negative? 100%. But that was before the end as well, right? That's why I wanted to leave. So when you begin to realize that the fears are based on our conditioning, now you begin to change your life. And it's been the best thing that's happened to me. Number 3, the podcast. All of you know I've started a podcast. I do not look at the numbers. I used to look at the numbers. I said I will look at the numbers the first 2 months and now stop. I promise you, it's my sincere expression to you. I have stopped looking at the numbers after 60 days. The first 60 days I did, I've stopped, because in each of these, I am doing each of these, the Coaching Institute, Left My Marriage, and the podcast, not for the numbers, not for the money, not for how it looks, not for success in the external world. I'm doing it because I'm aligning with my dharma. And this persistence, this stubbornness, this obsession with following my dharma sounds self-absorbed. But let me tell you, it is actually the most selfless thing anyone can do, because you are exempting the external world from giving you anything. Do you understand? When you begin to live where you exempt the external world from giving you feedback, from giving you praise, from buying your books, from liking you, complimenting you, calling you on your birthday, wishing you happy Mother's Day, saying happy Valentine's Day. No one on the outside world needs to give me anything anymore. It is such a liberating gift to give to your external world, but mostly to give to yourself. Because not only are you exempting them from any power in your life over your internal domain, you're liberating yourself. You're making a contract with yourself, which goes like this: I am here, one life, one body, to discover the greatest secret of it all, which is who my true self is, out of culture's conditioning. It'll be a lifelong process. But once I start walking the path, each step takes me closer to living a life of inner freedom, where I'm no longer bound by other people's moods, other people's feelings, whether they like me or not, they think I'm amazing or not, they want to be with me or not, they think I'm hot or not, they think I'm a good mother or not. Who am I to tell my child what she should think about me? I don't have any opinion on what she needs to have an opinion about. That's her domain. She doesn't want to like me. Wow, she's free. My husband wants to dump me. He's free, right? Of course, it's painful, but it's only painful because culture has told us that your identity matters. How your children look at you, how your partner looks at you. Of course, I want it too. I'm a slave for my daughter to say I'm the best mother, because I'm in false self. When I'm in true self, I'm so sorry to say, to daughter and to the world, I really don't care. not in a negative way, not in an who gives a shit way, because I know it's not connected to me in the wisdom of it. Now, am I the most assiduous, obsessive helicopter mother? 100%, because I'm in my false self. You see, I'm hungry. I'm very hungry. And I can watch it and I can play with it, but it's only when you go out of that you're on a different wavelength, right? So now what do you do with all this? You're like, okay, Dr. Shefali, I'm ready. I'm ready to be in my true self. I want to embrace the Dharma. I want to embrace my purpose. I don't want to be in the matrix. Okay. So now you have to do something. Yes, there is a little bit of doing. Yes, you do have to go and kill the lion or protect yourself from the tiger. You have to do something. Please don't just sit there and go, I'm in my Dharma, I'm meditating, and there's a lion about to come and kill you. What that means symbolically is you live in the form-based world. You do have to pay rent. You do have a mortgage. You do have these bloody children and the partner. What to do? Now you're here. You have to go for the weddings. You have to go for the funeral. But you have to do. But how do you do? Right? You do it with this awareness that I am going to develop the wisdom and the skills to live this matrix with power. And very few people know how to do this. And I'm not saying I'm the ultimate, but I definitely am cued in to these teachings. And this is what I teach. How can we live in this freaking matrix with freedom? I have a beautiful house in an amazing neighborhood. I have the prerequisite cars. I have the prerequisite travel. I have the prerequisite nice clothes. I have the prerequisites, yes? But anyone who knows me knows that my attachment to these prerequisites is so different. And that is what I want to teach people, because that is the linchpin, game changer between those that are sheep going to the slaughterhouse and those that have broken out of the matrix and are living life on their terms. Living life on their terms. Okay? My friends know that every article of clothing, well, not every, I would say 90% of my clothing I buy from Amazon. Okay? Now, why am I saying this? Because the matrix says I should buy designer wear. Matrix says I should have a label. Matrix says quality matters. Matrix, the matrix. But I know that it's an illusion. And if I'm not caught up with the designer, with the label, with the fancy, then I can still have the nice clothes, but I do it in a liberated way, without attachment to superficial realities that simply have no meaning. Have no meaning. People make fun of me because my car is a 2014 car. Yes, 2014. I refuse to sell it. I love it so much. And people say, okay, now, Shefali, you're living in this fancy neighborhood. You have the oldest car in the neighborhood. But I go, so? I love it. It works beautifully. I kiss it every day. It serves me so well. I'm one with it. Why would I get rid of it? Only to look better. This is how you can still live in the matrix, but not undermine yourself, but also not sell out, right? But that takes power, that takes wisdom, that takes a very clear vision of who it is you are. So, the way I did it is I developed the skills. I developed a true way of mastering these skills. How did I do it? I meditated intensely in my 20s and my 30s. Then I began to teach meditation. I began to grow. I began to take self-growth courses. I began to learn from my wisdom teachers, not many of them. And I began to spread my awareness, my curiosity. I became a true student and I began to learn from the best. And if you're not willing to learn from the best, you will not succeed, because you have to have the mindset. You see, you have to have the mindset of a student. You have to have the mindset of, I need to learn the skills. So I did a master's, I did a PhD, I did 3 masters in the PhD, I did a post PhD. I did so much training, and I put myself at the threshold of humility. And I said, I'm a student. I came with beginner's mind and I said, I'm willing to learn from the best. And I sought the best teachers and I put myself in the role of a very humble student. And then what I did was that I began to expand my mindset because my mindset was still screwed up. I was still worried. I went for a PhD to Columbia University. That cost $120,000. It took 7 years. Okay. I was pregnant with my daughter when I began. My daughter was raised in the first 7 years was me going to PhD school. I had no money. I had no nannies, no family. I was like, I can't do it. I can't do it. Right. I even deferred for 6 months because I couldn't start. So I started in another semester until I expanded my mindset. And I realized that if I don't invest the money upfront, I will not get money downstream. You see, money is another way that culture binds us because it has us so hungry for billionaire status, for millionaire status, that it actually keeps us from making the next 100. And this is what I teach, and if you take more courses with me, I will teach you this, that you have to see through the illusion of the currency that we call money. And it is only when you overcome the illusion of money and time and effort, you will only then truly embody a higher level way of living, where you will be Midas, right? Where everything you touch is gold because you're not coming from the acquisition mentality. You're not coming from a scarcity mentality. You're not coming from a, oh my God, I have no time mentality. Money, time, and effort are all subjective. I promise you this. Now, yes, there is an objective reality. There are only 24 hours in a day. You do need to pay $1,000 in rent. There is an objective amount, but your mindset around it is not objective. Your mindset around it is bendable. It's permeable. It's fluid. It's not set in stone, right? It is not impermeable. It is not impervious. It's not rigid. You can bend it. So just think for a moment. Every restriction you have in your life right now about money, time, and effort is an illusion. Just take that in. Whatever fear you have around, I don't have enough time, illusion. I don't have enough money, illusion. I can't put in the effort. I just can't do it, illusion. You know how I know this? There have been times in your life where suddenly you found the money. There have been times in your life where suddenly you have the time. And when you became a parent, if you're a parent, suddenly you're like, oh my God, what did I do with my time before I became a parent? Anyone here had that feeling? Because now suddenly you're awake all the time. You're doing things, 10 things at the same time. You're multitasking like a freaking crazy person. And you're wondering, how were you busy before you had a child? Right? This is a completely different set of circumstances, and you're managing because money, time, and effort are constructs in your mind. There is an objective truth to it, but your relationship to each of these three things is in your mind. So the next thing you have to do is expand your mindset. And then this will take you to a new kind of mindset, which I call the oneness mindset. So in my life, I won't do anything for myself unless I enter a oneness mindset with it. Let me explain. Yesterday, I was invited to 2 events, and I had to choose which event I wanted to go to. The way I decided it was to literally put myself in the event, project myself into the event, and I sat there like I'm in the event. And I projected the people that would be at the event. It was all a projection. And where it was, the location, one was in the city, one was somewhere else, and I projected. And then I asked myself, in which event would I enter a oneness consciousness or a more oneness consciousness? In which event could I just show up and embody myself more authentically? When I did that, the answer came right away. It was right there. And this philosophy of no separation, of non-duality, is the key horse, is the horse I sit on before I go into the sunset. If I'm not sitting on the horse of oneness, I most likely won't do it. Each time I have sat on another beast into the sunset, I have royally fucked it up. Royally. This is from a small nano micro decision to my daughter saying, Mom, can we go do our nails? And me going, sure. And then I go do my nails and realize I freaking hate doing my nails. And then I'm in a bad mood. And then I snap at her. And the whole outing was as if it was better I didn't freaking go do my nails. This just happened 2 weeks ago. So now I'm back to my naked nails as I like it because I wasn't false self. I was so worried that she would not feel happy and that she would not love me. And then we're not doing mommy daughter bonding because, we need to bond some more because the books say we should bond some more. We haven't bonded enough. And I'll go pretend that I can be like the other mothers. And then I had a movie of other mothers and daughters. They go do their nails. Mommy, you've never done it with me. I'm like, I want to be like the other mommies. Let me go and be completely fake. So when I was sitting there, I was so upset. I was rigid. The woman was late. Then I was really upset because, I've got better things to do with my time. I was resentful of my daughter. Then the bill was $90 for these freaking nails. I'm like, really? Are you serious? So I was nonstop negative, 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 negative. My daughter was like horrified by who I was. And she must have thought, why the hell did I call my mother? And I thought, why the hell did I say yes? Because I was in false self. So until I ride the horse of oneness, I'm not doing anything. Now, can I do this every single time? No. But especially for the big sunsets, the big projects, even yesterday, spending 2 hours at an event, that's a big sunset for me. 2 hours is a lot of time for me. I better sit on the horse of oneness, right? So, what this means is until you can see yourself as the thing, until you can be in it and imagine it, until you can feel it, don't do it. Don't do it. So when people come to me and go, Dr. Shefali, for 10 years I've not had sex with my husband. Should I stay or should I leave? I say to them, oh, what we're going to do is just stay in the question, should I stay or should I leave? Because you're not ready. Because if you were ready, your bags would be packed, right? What that means is you're not yet one with your decision, right? Oh, I always say this one woman came to me, Dr. Shivali, I can't stand my husband. I want to leave my husband. Okay, let's leave the husband. I make a plan. I make a whole list. Let's do this on this day. And then after a few months, she comes to me, Dr. Shivali, I really like my swimming pool. I really think I should stay in the marriage. I'm like, oh, okay, you love the swimming pool. You love your mansion. You should stay in the marriage. I think you should stay in the marriage. So the next few months, she's in the marriage. After 3 months, she comes back. She's like, I really can't stand him. I'm like, wow. And that client taught me that no, we're not ready to leave. We're just ready to stay stuck. That's what we're ready to do. So I always tell my clients, okay, are we ready? And they go, yes. Are we ready to stay stuck? And then they go, damn it. I go, because that's what we've been doing. We have been getting ready every week to stay stuck. So I always tell my clients, don't worry, let's just stay stuck, but let's not pretend we're answering the question. Because to answer the question of what should I do next, you need to enter a oneness with it. Because when you enter a oneness with it, you embody it, you become it. Just like motherhood, for me personally, and maybe for you, motherhood is not something I do, right? I have to embody it, right? I have to enter the dharma of mothering. Otherwise, every single thing is going to annoy me. As it is, every single thing annoys me. So imagine, so I have to sit on the horse of oneness with mothering this child into this sunset of this child. If I'm not in oneness with it, I will keep being at war with it. And this is why most people are not successful in their lives, because they are looking to take. They're not looking to be one with. They're looking to get something at the end, but they're not looking to be in non-duality, in non-separation with the process, right? If the process is not singing to you, then the goal is not going to sing to you. J. Krishnamurti is a famous philosopher in India. And he said, how it begins is how it ends. And I always, always remember this. How am I starting is how it will end. If I'm starting with hunger, which most of us do in our first relationships, in our first careers. We don't know. We're just hungry for success, hungry for money, hungry for fame, hungry for validation, hungry for mommy, hungry for daddy. How it starts is how it will end. Meaning, we started searching, we'll end up searching. We started empty, we'll end up empty. So until we shift the original place, right? And again, it's not the starting place in time. It's the starting place here, right? It's the starting place here. How am I entering the project, right? What is my leader? What is my North Star? And for me, and for sustainable success, it has to be the inner voice. It has to be led from within. Now, you may say to me, okay, Donald Trump is a superstar success in terms of culture's definition of success, right? He's a white man. He's in the penthouse. He owns buildings. He's presidential nominee 2 times, elected president. He is like, he just escaped death. Wow, right? Or you may say Mark Zuckerberg, or you may say Bill Gates, or you may say Warren Buffett. I don't know who you'll say, Jeff Bezos, right? You may say Elon Musk. Now, you may think I randomly removed these people. No, I took them all out because they have a lot of things in common besides being white men, right? You will look at all of them and they will have a very similar profile. And their profile is really one of, according to me, I'm projecting disconnection, right? If you listen to Elon Musk, you will want to chew your entire body and eat it up because he's completely disconnected. Look at Jeff Bezos. Look at Mark Zuckerberg. All these people are very successful, but they're not led from within. You can tell they're not lit up from here, right? The reason why you are attracted to me or to people like me is because of what's coming from inside, what's flowing. It's not what I'm mastering to conquer, to dominate, to acquire, right? So they work from an acquisition place. They work from a place of predatorial domination, right? Now you too can make the next best bag that is better than the Gucci bag, the Louboutin, whatever, the this, that, and the tututu. I don't even know their names. You can make the best bag. But if you're not going to make the best bag out of your own inner compass, it will not be sustainable to give you the things that you say you want: joy, empowerment, worth, peace, harmony, freedom. Now, if you want the bag to give you fame and money, it could. But even that is a crapshoot. It's a 50-50. So in order to truly live a life of dharma, of service, you need to convert your purpose into value. You need to create value for people, right? If you want to commodify it, if you want to be connected to people, you need to create value. And again, you can charge for it or you cannot charge for it. It's the same thing. Because when you create value for others, you create value for yourself. So you tap into the opportunity. Wow, I make amazing cupcakes. You answer a need. Don't look for money right away. Answer the need. Oh, I could make cupcakes for the whole hospital, the children's hospital. Go do it. Embody the service. So Hala asks a good question. Isn't creating value for others people pleasing? You're not creating value for others. You're creating value for your own self. Now, again, you can just make cupcakes for yourself. But if you want to enter service, the dharma of service, then you go create value. You give it away. And through the giving, you receive. You embody the service. So somebody asked, what does it mean to be one with the action I'm about to take? So like I told you, you have to fully envision and embody what it would feel like to be in that reality. So if you're leaving a marriage, for example, you have to live in that reality for a little bit. So with my ex, for months, I lived in the reclamation of the single self while I was still in the relationship, because I began to embody, what does that feel like? Can I be one with it? Does this feel okay for me? And I found that I felt happier, lighter, more creative, more inspired. You see? So you have to sit in that reality. You have to be in it. So for the 2-hour outing last night, I sat in that reality for 15 minutes. But if I'm leaving a 25-year-old marriage, I sat in it for like 2 years. Oneness philosophy. Or when I actually started my podcast, I sat with it. What kind of podcast is me? Is authentically me? The whole world is doing podcasts with celebrities and with famous people and with experts, but that's not me. So I did a podcast that reflected me. And because I'm embodying the service, in there, I'm creating value, but I had to embody it. What does embodiment mean? Embodiment means that you have to take a risk. You have to translate the formless into form. So I have an idea. Oh, you know what? I love making cupcakes for people. Okay, then you have to get up, buy the flour, buy the sugar, buy the ingredients, buy the blender or whatever, and do it. Do you understand? So you have to translate it into action. And in order for that, you have to have the mindset that there is no such thing as failure. You see, failure is a construct of the modern world. There is no such thing as failure. You know, what is failure? And if you are bound by culture's definitions of failure, oh, I'm not in the top five, oh, I didn't get the best-selling rank, I did not make the extra $20,000, I didn't come first. If that is your definition of success and not getting it is failure, then you are going to be eternally stuck in that dimension. The question that I ask is not, am I going to fail? My question is, am I going to fail myself? Am I going to risk failure in the external world, or am I going to risk failure in the internal world? And that was my pivoting question when I had to leave my marriage. I had to ask, okay, I can stay in this marriage. I've done 25 years already. I can stay another 25. I can be the one of those people who can check off married. And wow, what a success. Wow, I can have a long union. But that's not me anymore. So who do I want to be? My cultural self, my false self, or my true self? Do I want to risk failure, or do I want to risk inauthenticity? So before you can take a practical step, you have to get your mind in order. So Hedy said, can you tell us practical steps so that I can push myself out of the comfort zone to embody the service? First, you cannot take a practical step if your mindset is not clear, if you haven't done this inner work. Now, I'm just laying out the pathway, guys. This is not a course to teach you how to do it. I'm laying out what you need to do, and then I will give you options that I teach that you can actually do these things in your own life. But you have to first understand what you need to do, right? If you don't understand where the exit door is, you won't know that you have to walk through it. First, you have to see the exit door. Oh, I'm trapped inside. That's the exit door. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm laying out the method, the formula that I have used, the principal teachings that have helped me. And then I'll tell you how I did it. I've already started telling you, but then I'll tell you how you can do it. So the third most important thing in success, or in my success, has been the creation of a Sangha. So what is a Sangha? A Sangha is a community. Now, when I started doing this work, and people know this 100%, when I started doing this work, I didn't have many people to talk to. My girlfriends didn't know this language. None of them were meditating at that time. My partner wasn't talking this language, and I was really alone. And I was like, damn it, who do I talk to? In fact, I hid myself from others because I was so ostracized in my own conditioning that I thought that who I was needed to be hidden. So I kept it on the down low and I didn't tell people. And then I realized that, I'm suffering. So of course, there is no Sangha because very, very few people are on this path. So what can I do? I can keep crying about it. I can go live as a hermit, or I can create my own Sangha. And that's what I did. In 2015, I did my first summit called Evolve, and I created a Sangha. But I had begun doing that through my courses. I began creating a mailing list. I then created the Coaching Institute. Now I have a robust alumni of more than 1,000 people who are my community. I just met somebody from Poland. When I went to Poland, one of my coaches there. When I go to London, I meet my other coaches. When I go to India, I meet my coaches. I'm going to Dubai, I always meet my coaches. So I've created a network. Why is a network the most important thing? Because we are stronger together than alone. Every human being who is a success will tell you, I had a great team. And my community is my team. And not only are we a brotherhood and a sisterhood, a tribe, we are truly each other's reflectors, mirrors, and challengers, evolvers. You need to be around people who speak your language. Now, this doesn't mean that you only stay with people who speak your language, especially if the language is one of racism, or the language is one of bigotry, or language is one of, ultra traditionalism. But when it is an enlightened community who is all uplifting each other, your growth, your success, your power, your freedom, your autonomy, your liberation is exponentially on steroids. People underestimate the power of Sangha. And you know why? Because the world prefers that we are in its Sangha, meaning go to a synagogue, and that is your very cult-like Sangha. Not that the synagogue is a cult, but it's a very restricted us against them Sangha. Or go to your church, and then you're in the us against them church Sangha, or into the monastery or the temple, or the very specific elite private intelligentsia group, and that we will be a Sangha. That's not the Sangha I'm talking about. Those Sanghas are us against them. Those Sanghas are defined by labels, defined by the very things that I've been talking we cannot be defined by. The Sangha that I'm talking about is a Sangha of seekers, a Sangha of liberators, a Sangha of teachers, of awakeners. Now, when you're in that kind of Sangha, it's completely different. Now, don't think that the Sangha I created is all roses and honey. I've had some toxic, worms and viruses in my Sangha. But because of the Sangha, I've been able to eradicate, right? I'm not talking about a cult. I'm not talking about an identity. I'm not talking about an ism. This is not a Shefali-ism Sangha. It's about a Sangha that is intentionally unified with the vision of evolution. Now, that kind of Sangha is virtually unheard of, so rare, but that is the ultimate place to be. So in my life, I have created the pillars of the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. And each time I am in confusion about what to do next, I ask myself, do they follow the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha? The Buddha is the wisdom teachings, which is what is the matrix? What is the true self? What is the false self? And then the actual Dharma is, how do I manifest it? How do I show purpose? How do I serve? How do I embody my values? How do I align with the oneness of my service? And then the Sangha is the community. So in my life, this is how I have manifested it. And I'm going to tell you more about many of them and many of my teachings. So the Buddha is my way of deepening my teachings in my own self through meditation and self-growth. The Dharma is how I show my service through my books, my clients, my coaching institute, my podcast, my workshops. Oh, I spelled workshops wrong. My workshops and my lectures. And my Sangha is my communities, my Evolve community. Hopefully some of you will come to it one day. My next Evolve will be in 2026. So get on my waiting list, get on my newsletter list, or whatever it's called, my mailing list, so that in 2026 you can join our Sangha. And my coaching institute has an alumni, and that is a Sangha. So this is how I have truly created this step by step, but it is a skill set, it is a mindset, it is a deliberate, intentional way of living. So what I'm going to now do is talk to you a little bit about how you can embody the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha in your life. So if you are interested in furthering your teachings with me, then I can show you some ways. How can you embody the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha? Well, the most powerful way that I have created for you to do that is through my coaching institute. I have created a phenomenal warehouse of all these teachings that I've talked about right now. If you enjoyed this, if this inspired you, if this created an aha, imagine truly studying this for 5 months. So I took all my teachings, all my wisdom in psychology, in Eastern spirituality, in meditation, in evolutionary psychology, in cultural deconstruction and social psychology, and I put it all into my conscious parenting and life coaching institute. So in this 5 month program, which is online, you delve into a soul quest. You delve into a life changing quest to elevate yourself to become the most amazing partner, parent, and human being for yourself. And you get to embody a service. I teach you how you can make money and create value. And you get a sangha. You get a community of co-wisdom seekers that you are growing with. So I'm going to call a few people who are graduates of my Buddha Dharma Sangha Coaching Life Institute, and they're going to talk to us about how the Coaching Institute has taught them the very principles that I know are the foundational elements for success. Whether you become a coach in your life or not, whether you do this in your future or not, whether you want to be a coach or not, whether you have a background in psychology or education or not, it is not relevant. This is a soul quest, a soul awakening. And then if you decide to learn more, and then if you decide to become a coach and make money out of it, that's great. But if you want to learn my teachings in a real deep way and embody what I'm communicating to you and make it one with you, then my Conscious Parenting and Life Institute is the way to go. So I'm going to invite a few people. Let's call them all at once. If we can, we have Magdalena, we have Kelly, and I don't know whether we have Farzeen. So come on in. If we have Armida. Armida, why don't you come? You're a graduate. She didn't even know I was going to call her. Why don't you come on? And we're going to hear from 4 coaches who are going to tell you how the Conscious Parenting and Life Institute embodied these methods to help them create the foundation for their success. So, okay, let's start with you, Kelly. Are you there? So Kelly is a graduate. So hold on, and at the end, I have a few incentives or gifts or trinkets. If you do decide to apply for the Coaching Institute, I'm going to give you a free course, and I'm going to give you some other amazing webinars that are coming on. So for those of you who are interested, stay on. For those who are not, I hope you got value. But I'd love for the rest of you who are interested in, maybe I want to be on a soul quest. Maybe I want to transform and transcend and alchemize my life. Maybe I want to create value through service. Well, then the rest of you stay on. Okay, let's start with you, Kelly. How do you think the Conscious Parenting and Life Institute has embodied these teachings and elevated your life?
So for me, I was working at a school at the time as a student assistance counselor, but I loved the service that I was doing, but there was something that was definitely off. So what happened for me was like kind of that process that you said about resonance, and I had heard one of your podcasts, and it was for me, it was that marriage of the Western and the Eastern. So I took the leap, and it's funny, I was listening to remembering what my partner at the time said to me, because I was in the second cohort. And I remember him saying, what's going to be the payoff of the Coaching Institute? Maybe you should wait and see what it yields. And I knew right then and there, I was like, no, that's not it. That's not it for me. It is the process for me, not the outcome. And that's what I kind of magnified in the Institute. What you said about kind of zooming out and taking action and learning how to juggle things when life gets messy, and just in the day to the day. I have a very simple and abundant life. I get to do this work every day from home. I live completely differently now. And then when I was working, doing similar work, but in a setting that just wasn't really in alignment for me. So the Coaching Institute really did. And changed everything for me. I live and breathe it every day. That's that embodiment that you keep talking about. It's easy when it feels like it's the click. And the other piece I just wanted to highlight is the community, because it's like when you experience something in community, it does magnify it because it's the energy of others and you're being held and pushed at the same time. So the community is huge. You can go through this alone, but what happens is when you're together, it really does magnify things. And like Dr. Shefali said, I can go anywhere. I was recently in Norway and I could just call up a coach if I wanted to. So that's pretty phenomenal as well.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you, Kelly. Let's go to you, Janet. Janet joined in cohort 1 and she's a very successful coach. So, Janet, talk about how people can apply this in their own lives, either with their families or as a coach, and make money and have a career.
Yeah, that's such a good question, because this is applicable across every area of your life. A lot of the experiences, people come into the Institute because they're like, I just want to improve myself. And that's amazing, because I would say pretty much everyone who comes through the Institute does experience some sort of self-improvement, growth, healing, full of aha moments that literally are mind-blowing all of the time throughout the 5 months. You don't need a formal education to become a coach. You don't need anything other than these 5 months, because the training is so complete. Sometimes people hold back joining because, like, I don't know enough. I don't have a background in psychology. I'm not a teacher. I think sometimes you're better off not having those backgrounds, because you don't come in with preconceived notions. You don't come in with preconceived ideas. So you kind of come in with a clean slate and you can just absorb and learn and embody. So not only can you bring this to your family, you can bring this to whatever work environment you're in, because you're approaching it authentically. You're approaching it in alignment, like you were talking about before, Dr. Shefali. So even if you have an unconscious moment, you can be like, all right, not a great moment. However, what can I do differently? How can I approach that person? How can I repair it? What was going on within me because I reacted that way? And be more in alignment. And I think that's what the Coaching Institute teaches us. I know for me personally, and I'll share this because everyone goes through their own struggles, but during cohort 1, my mother died, and she was in the process of dying through most of the first half of the cohort. And if I wouldn't have been in the program and doing the work, that grieving process and getting through the loss of her, I know would have been harder. So it gave me tools that I didn't even know I needed, but that I had at my fingertips to use at a time when I was in a crisis.
Yep. Yep. It's really about the tools and the skills to manage your external chaos so that you can create inner liberation, which is what I started this whole webinar with, is really the ultimate skill set that we all need in order to have lived a fulfilled life. And once you learn the skills, you will embody them and you will spread it at least to your own children, at least to your own partner, to your relationship, and to your own grieving, to your own pain, as Janet said. So the reason I created this Conscious Parenting and Life Institute is to have one place where all my teachings can house and embody the service, to train other people to embody the service. And that's how the wave of service spreads in the world and a message becomes a movement. And if you want to be part of the movement of raising consciousness, of awakening yourself and others, then you have to invest this money, time, and effort, as all these people did. But the end result is that you will live in that oneness consciousness that will be the pathway to your liberation. Okay, so I have Magdalena and then Armida. So Magdalena, go ahead. Which cohort were
Hi.
you with, Magdalena?
Yes, thank you for having me. So what I think like the most
Which
important
cohort were you in?
the
Oh,
first one.
first. Okay.
Yeah, yes, the first one. And I'm going also to rejoin with your reboot because I do resonate with the teaching so strongly. So I think like the most difficult way is the way from your head to your heart. So you do really need to find a teacher that helps you, that you resonate with the teachings, that you can really feel it, and then you are ready to embody it, right? Because it's not about it is about your head, right? But you do need to transfer to your heart. That's the most important part of your life. So the way that Dr. Shefali does it, it just resonates so highly, and it's just a beautiful way of teaching. And there are so many ways that you can cooperate with others. You are getting like a wonderful support. So it's a definitely need the way you need to try. Yes.
And Magdalena is in Poland. She's done so many workshops in Poland. She's one of the leading teachers of conscious parenting in Poland. She's been on news stations, on interviews.
Yes.
She is taking the charge and creating a movement of healing and transformation in her country. So I'm so proud of her. But she's one example of alchemizing this teaching and making it applicable in her country and offering a service which I know is so fulfilling for her. She doesn't even feel like she's working a day in her life because it's part of who she is. So thank you, Magdalena, for sharing. Armida, Armida is a mother, I remember, of 3 daughters, maybe?
Yes.
Okay, Armida, which cohort were you in?
9.
Okay, cohort 9. So we are now in almost starting cohort 11. So Armida, why did you join? Did you have a big background in psychology or education? And how did it change your life?
I just had a very chaotic, messy, all around, lots of teachings of life, of, getting with someone that I was dying to be loved. And all my life was just teachings, no PhD, no master's, no nothing, no schooling, just life schooling. And I came across you from my colleague at work, but it just went as a shift of not trying to do. It was just absorbing the teaching. I connected it with it, like you said. It was just like absorption, and it truly changed my life with my daughters. We would get in the car, go to the grocery market and back, and fighting the whole way. We could just not fight. And now I'm not going to say it's 100%, but truly connected. I learned not to come home and yell at them and play the victim, as I gave you a story. And I'm like, what is she talking about? I'm suffering here at work. I work an hour away from them and I can't get to them. And that's when it clicked for me. It shifted. I am playing the victim. I'm playing, I'm so sorry for myself and this and that. And just as I absorbed your teachings, I got all your teachings. I can't get enough, because it's truly given me the peace of mind. Of course not, because it's a chatterbox, but I've learned to separate my mind, my thoughts from myself. I have the awareness that I'm in shit, and I know why I'm in there. It's just truly amazing what the consciousness and the awareness that I have now. Yeah, I'm still a little bit insecure, as I did a hypnotherapy class with wonderful Janet. But as listening to you is, like you saying, who cares what the world thinks? I'm not trying to meet a 5,000 goal on, Instagram and whatever, Facebook. I need to put myself out there because I have the teachings, and I hear it from people like, wow, what do you listen to? What do you learn? Or where do you get? And it's like, that's when it's like, oh, I do know. But because of your beautiful teachings that you've given me, the psychology part of the Western and the Eastern of the Buddha, which I love. And like you said, I'm not Buddhist, but all his teachings are just wonderful. Everything, the awareness from what I used to be, no longer with my, the father of my kids, I can see his unconsciousness, and I just couldn't be in that mix. My house is peaceful. Our relationships with my girls, the best thing ever. I even hearing my girls talk your wisdom, like, oh, Shefali, And I'm going to go tell Shefali on you. And it's like, oh, wow, now it's coming back to me.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So thank you all for sharing a little bit of your experience. Thank you for joining us. So just to wrap up, you all can leave if you want. Just to wrap up, the Conscious Coaching the Conscious Coaching Institute is a certification in becoming a parent coach and a life coach. So you get two dual certifications from my institute. It is an online program. It is 5 months. It is global. It's all over the world. You create a Sangha. It's in depth. It starts out with about 4 hours to 5 hours a week, but very soon it goes to 8 hours or 10 hours a week. It's a total of 130 plus hours over the 5 months. You meet with me once a week. You have a smaller group with my advisors. You have your own colleague peer group, support group. You have a 24/7 Facebook group. You have weekly teachings, monthly teachings. It's just a very comprehensive course to awaken your soul, to align with your deepest purpose, to find your true calling, to embody your deepest worth. So if you are interested in any of these things, then you have to go on a soul quest, like I talked about. You have to do something. You have to take a risk. You have to spend the money, the time. So if you apply, the link is right there. You will be sent a course for free, 7 powerful ways to get out of power struggles. I'm going to send it to you for free if you apply within the next 3 days. It is a commitment. I've had over 1,200 people committing. So let's not put that in there right now because the code is for when after they apply. Yes. So once they apply, they'll be sent the code, but you get all the teachings for 130 hours. You get practice as a coach and you get your own coaching, right? You're being coached in the program by your peers, by your advisors, not in a one-on-one way, but in a group format, right? You're getting it all the time. So you're not only awakening your own consciousness, you're also learning the skills to help awaken other people's consciousness. And at the end of the course, you will learn skills to set up a business, to set up a career. How can you work at home? How can you monetize this? How can you achieve? We have a very robust alumni program where you can have a network ongoingly. And this is really the whole deal of the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha all rolled into one. And it is the most transformative soul quest you can ever be on. So if you want to apply within the next 3 days, we will give you this course for free. On August 9th, I have another webinar just for people who want to learn more about the Coaching Institute. So if you're interested in learning about the Coaching Institute in depth, a Q&A, I'm going to show you how the Coaching Institute looks. You have to attend the webinar on August 9th. So you will see on Instagram a lot of posts about that. Sign up for the mailing list. I will send you information on that. Or you can write to my assistant at admin@drshefali.com. Admin@drshefali.com. I do have a Spanish portion of the Institute where everything is translated into Spanish. You can join that. It's a little bit cheaper. There are very few scholarships available, so don't count on that, especially if you live in the West and you have an income. All the courses are mainly in English, but then I have them all translated into Spanish as well. The next cohort starts in September. There is a prerequisite course called Conscious Parenting 2.0, which is 15 hours. You can do that in 2-3 days. So if you're looking for a new purpose, if you're looking for a new way of living your life, of elevating your consciousness, then you have to go on a soul quest. And that's what my Conscious Parenting and Coaching Institute is. So you will get a life certification, a parenting certification. So if this is something that intrigues you, look at the application. It's on my website under Institute. And if you apply within the next 3 days, you will get a free course. And you don't have to have any background. okay, to become one of my conscious parenting and life coaches. You don't have to have any degree, any background. I teach you from scratch. And like Janet said, I almost prefer it if you don't come with your own preconceived ideas. So I truly hope some of you will join me on this mission to make the message of conscious parenting and conscious living a movement. Thank you all for joining me. Thank you all. Bye, everyone. You can explore it on my website. Bye, everyone. Take care. Thank you. I hope you learned something out of this. Bye, guys. Thank you for joining me. Bye, guys. Bye.